Right at the top of the hour, once again, UBC Tonight is here to bring you what's making headlines. My name is Patricia Lokoma Mpango to take you through the bulletin. Now, President Yoweri Museveni has challenged the people of Teso sub-region in eastern Uganda to embrace more commercial farming ventures other than citrus farming alone. Museveni lists poultry, dairy, and fish farming as serious avenues that will drive people, including women, out of poverty.
Salute. Yeah, please stand up. We are going to sing the anthems.
Anyo tukera woto aikoso sineno kwa na kwa Uganda kedeno Teso kedeno East African ijaono ni Papa President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
You have the practice of the boy paying bride price for the girl. That's why the Karamojong finish one another with the Turkanas, killing one another to get cows to go and pay for women. Backwardness, underdevelopment. So please, don't jump. The women emancipation program must be organic. It can't be just legislation, that's not the whole society must change. With Teso, we started moving well. After the peace, we introduced citrus. Some people are talking about this and that about citrus, but I have now confirmed that it is a good project in spite of the mistakes of our people. The families which grew the citrus are still getting some money, although they could get much more money if the factory in Soroto was working better than it is doing now. We are going to expand that factory. We are going to expand that factory so that it takes all your citrus. Because according to what I have discovered now, Teso is supplying Kenya, supplying South Sudan, supplying Rwanda, but supplying raw materials. Therefore, they get paid very low prices. But the low prices they pay for citrus are still better than what they would get from cotton if they were growing cotton per acre. Right. So in addition to citrus, we are going to add, I want to encourage fish farming The people who had started fish farming were doing well. The man in Anyara was doing well. The man between Amuria and Soroti was doing well. But it seemed they did not get enough support of the feeds and all that. But we are going to sort that one out, to manufacture fish feeds here.
Now, women in Katakwi have praised the leadership of President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for improving lives of women, especially in the health sector, and putting them in leadership positions.
Uganda today joined the rest of the world to mark International Women's Day amidst a reflection on how women can further be empowered to participate in self-development activities.
I thank President Museveni and Alupo for money for PDM. Since I got that money, I'm not the same way I used to be. There's a step ahead. And I'm very, very happy.
Pregnant mothers were there, so it was hard. But at least since she added that ambulance, I can see life is now easy. They transport sick people, as you can see. Now there are 2 that have passed. At least the situation is not all that like it was.
Akror Betty, a resident of Toroma County in Katakwi district, said women have benefited greatly because they are now directly involved in developmental activities.
They have benefited because they enter in groups. Like those days when I was young, we had VSLAs, those banks, small banks that offer loans. We were not there. But now women are able to access those financial services. They are near. Even security is okay. Some of us make business from 5 again to 10.
You realize that most families here have been brought up by women and they are doing well. We have markets here, and when you go and count people who are making money doing business, 90% of them, a bigger percentage is women. That tells me that we have a lot to do about women. Women need to be more empowered.
However, the women highlighted some challenges they are still grappling with in various spheres, especially gender-based violence and early marriage of teenage girls, among others.
As a woman, my husband has not been allowing me to do business. I've been suffering. You can ask him, you buy for us, there's no money, and he's not allowing you to go and do business. You have to sit.
BV is still there. Gender-based violence, it is also there. You find that when a woman conceives, the man can feel like chasing the woman or even denying the pregnancy.
On behalf of the Office of the National Chairman of NRM, Kapololo Norman, who represented Hajati Hadija Namyalo, distributed maternity kits, sewing machines, hair dryers and hose to women in this area.
Our aim is to fight poverty. Now we have come with some of, let me use a simple word. These are weapons.
Katakwi Resident District Commissioner assured women that the government will continue supporting them, especially in providing grants and other incentives to help them earn a living.
So therefore, this government is not using only one route or one pronged approach in fighting poverty. So improving the livelihoods of the people. It is using multi-pronged approaches in programs, especially.
Story compiled by Joseph Mwingo for UBC News.
Now, Butabika School of Psychiatric Clinical Officers has hosted a momentous event commemorating the International Women's Day alongside the graduation of their latest batch of patriotism trainers. Let's hear more from Sudat Kaye.
In her address, Doreen Keita Kagabi hailed the pivotal roles women play in society and celebrated the strides made in gender equality. She highlighted the importance of recognizing and honoring women's contributions, while also acknowledging the broader significance of patriotism in shaping national identity and unity.
So I want to congratulate Uganda. I want to congratulate
the president, our president. For this far we have come, and this far. It was a dream. It started with one man. Then there were two, and then there were 27. Now I don't know. We have lost count. Now we have burst the borders. We are now across. We are all over. We are touching everywhere around the world. Everyone, whoever now calls that one man, they have to be careful, because finally we have known their secret.
Muchibi Yassin from the Ministry of Education commended the school for instilling discipline and accountability through patriotism training.
For us as a ministry, we are committed to supporting it whenever we are called upon. So it is not by accident that I am here, but it is because of the benefits of patriotism to our country that we have to be with you. We have to be here to make sure that we benefit from patriotism.
He emphasized the role of patriotism in fostering responsible citizenship and its positive impact on student performance. The principal, School of Psychiatric Clinical Officers, Nampogo Matthias, reiterated government's commitment to promoting patriotism education in schools, recognizing its role in building a cohesive and prosperous nation.
The school population would be 300 plus, but we are constrained by reduced infrastructure. The numbers we have is not the number that we always admit. Some are shed off simply because of lack of infrastructure. Otherwise, we would have like 300 or 500 students. The government of Uganda stipulated that we should be heading in the middle income status. But the current prevalence of NMS, this is mental neurological substance use disorders, is calling for more for mental health workers in order to attain that. No health without mental health, and no wealth without mental health.
The event served as a reminder of the values of gender equality and national unity, highlighting the importance of celebrating both Women's Day and patriotism in Uganda's societal fabric.
And I hope that you're going to use the knowledge and the skills that you've acquired during this last 1 week, and you put it into practice to better your own life and to better the lives of those around you.
Sudat Kaye, UBC News.
And in the area of adoption awareness, lawyers in Uganda have been urged to desist from high legal adoption fees charged to foster parents that want to adopt children. This call was made by Justice John Katerima, the head of Family Division of the High Court of Uganda, at the Adoption Awareness Conference.
Adoptive parents are required to pay Uganda shillings 6,000 only while filing for adoption. However, the high financial barriers due to high charges by the lawyers have hindered most of them from carrying on with adoption process.
Of course, many people engage lawyers to help them in that process. And usually what the lawyers charge between themselves and the client, we have no control over as a court. It's a discussion. The person who wants to bring this matter to our court will have with our lawyer, but it shouldn't be an expensive fee, especially now that we are trying to assist children to be adopted. So if somebody is charging, for example, 50 million, 20 million, 10 million, I would think that's very, very exorbitant for one to charge a client for adoption. In my own considered view, maybe the lawyer should charge maybe 2 million shillings.
Issues are not actually, the fees are not as more than 6,000. But now it is these other legal fees by the lawyers that end up becoming quite expensive. And we're saying that if many other many other adoptive parents, prospective adoptive parents who understand what the fees are, who understand what the process is, who understand what needs to be done, can be given this information. That information, which is powerful, then can deal with this issue of the exorbitant prices of fees that are given around adoption. We believe that this one-stop center point can have all the forms that need to be filled in, can give all the advice to the adoptive parents, can even help them in filling up the forms and help them through the process of carrying out their adoption.
A report by the Ministry of Gender in 2017 provided that a total number of 17,000 children from just 4 districts in Uganda were working on the streets, a number that Damon Wamara Kamese, the Executive Director, Uganda Child Rights NGO Network, says is worrying for Uganda.
In Uganda, in 4 districts, Kampala, Jinja, Iganga, and Mbale, 17,000 children living and working on the streets. Majority of these 17,000 have been separated from their families. But Ministry of Gender through Sauti 116 shares with us that over 75% of the calls they get, mind you, they get over 3,000 calls a day on child rights issues. Every day, over 3,000 calls. Estimates that over 75% of the calls they receive are based on GBV or domestic violence or any other forms of violence against children.
Whereas high legal fees may be a core hindrance to adoption in Uganda, adoptive parents have as well listed cultural impediments as one of the barriers.
I think there are 3 principal challenges. One is just awareness. There are lots of potential adoptive parents who just don't know how the process is done. Where do they adopt these children from? What is the process of adoption? What is the process of fostering? What is the process of legally adopting the child in the courts of law? So this awareness is important. The other issue is the legal process. In terms of the law, what are parents supposed to do? You foster for 1 year?
The Adoption Awareness Conference in Kampala was on the theme, Bringing Hope to a Generation Through Adoption. Mario Nawori and Kenneth Tanaba for UBC.
The International Labour Organization has called upon countries in East Africa and those in the Horn of Africa to establish database for migrant workers to enhancement of tracking purposes. In the high-level engagement of the representatives from member states and Kampala, it was established that limited information about migrant workers is facilitating irregular labor mobility.
The high-level engagement of representatives from East Africa and the Horn of Africa centered on the provision of strategic and policy guidance in the implementation and monitoring of better regional migration management program.
Developing a regional academic qualifications framework to harmonize certification, accreditation, and mutual recognition of qualifications within the region.
Recommendations are basically targeted to regularize and ease movement of labor within member countries and beyond.
We should focus on working together in the conditions of bilateral labor agreements and monitoring our migrant workers in the destination countries to minimize abuse and exploitation.
The booming labor externalization as a business warrants collaboration of governments, labor export companies, and trade unions to guarantee appropriate conditions of exported labor. African countries are urged to establish a formidable database for persons migrated to different countries.
That is why we are here today, to agree on a common approach on VLMS to at least ensure minimum protection for our migrant workers. The potential of VLMS was highlighted again in the Global Compact for safe, regular, and ordered migration.
Poor implementation of bilateral agreements by countries has been identified as the major challenge hampering labor mobility, leading to the suffering of workers in those countries of destination.
There are, however, challenges associated with implementing bilateral labor agreements, i.e. funding, few diplomatic missions abroad, irregular migration, including trafficking in persons and human smuggling.
There should be equal treatment between nationals and migrants in employment and working conditions.
The resolution of this high-level engagement focuses on improvement of labor migration governance by strengthening capacities of countries in East Africa and the Horn of Africa regions by using evidence-based policies. Abdul Nasir Lubwama for UBC.
Now, teaching the children about environment can help them develop sustainable habits that are likely to stick with them as they grow up, says the State Minister of Education, J.C. Muyingo. He cites environmental education and the planting of trees as a small action that can have large impacts over time.
State Minister for Higher Education, Professor J.C. Muyingo, says religious, academic institutions and corporate entities must take the lead in promoting planting of trees and environmental protection. Muyingo made the appeal at the Umeme U Green Initiative at Mpiji Primary School in Busika Town Council, Luero District.
I've felt good words for the clergy, especially those who have really been able to surrender their land as Church of Uganda Luero has done. I'm calling upon all those who have land, especially the clergy, the religious institutions, to surrender their land to such projects and plant trees.
The tree planting initiative, now in its 8th year, seeks to inspire communities to take action on environmental conservation. Umeme's U Green Club has so far planted thousands of trees in various districts.
As the U Green Club of Umeme, our commitment is to plant 1 million trees in 2024. And this is we are going to do it either in our homes, partnerships like with these ones and other communities and also others. We have a very strong partnership with the Uganda Tree Growers Association, and our aim is to plant 1 million trees with an aim of decarbonating the environment by 1,900 tons of carbon oxide equivalent.
According to the head of communications at Umeme, the time is now for empowering children to adopt environmentally friendly practices to help curb climate change and foster sustainable development.
And when you look at sustainability, it is the youngsters that are going to come after us. So we feel that it's important to inculcate the culture of sustainability and awareness amongst them. And we believe that the young girls and boys that we have talked to here today are going to be a big cornerstone in terms of pushing environmental sustainability for tomorrow's Uganda.
Small actions like this can have large impacts over time. Uganda has lost at least 42% of its forest cover in the last 100 years. According to the World Resources Institute report, farming is the lead catalyst. Danish-Ugandan for UBC News.
Now, in the area of fighting corruption, certified accountants have been warned against involvement in corruption tendencies, but instead fight it hard among the public. The president of the Certified Public Accounts, CPA Josephine Okui, noted that the institution is meant to train professionals from better management of public funds, but instead some get trapped into corruption.
It was a joyous moment for the over 250 students of Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda as they graduated in various disciplines in accounting, ranging from certificates to bachelor's degree.
I commit myself to acting in public interest and will conduct myself with integrity.
The head of the body responsible for regulating and supervising accountants, CPA Josephine Okui, tasked the graduates on integrity as they joined the field of managing public resources.
Therefore, as you go out into the market, we appeal that you represent us diligently. This journey of becoming an accountant has been challenging, and now in your hands you have the power to influence economies, transform businesses and impact lives.
She also encouraged the graduates to be creative and hardworking.
So as graduates in various capacities, you have been empowered with knowledge and technical skills, and the onus remains on you to apply these skills and create an impact in your spheres of influence.
The same calls were also made by the acting managing director, Uganda National Bureau of Standards, Daniel Nangalama, and other speakers who told the graduates to remain professional at all times.
I've been serving in juicy places where I could have made money and I would be a billionaire. But I'll put people to test. You can get me another thing, but not fraud. Reason, I look for my name, that when I'm somewhere, they say, who is that person who can serve on the board?
We have heard of accountants that have been taken to jail for misappropriation, for playing around with people's money. You need to survive. So make sure the probability of your survival is high.
The graduates commended the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda for imparting life skills in them and that there was value for their money.
I've just completed my CPA course. I'm very excited because this course is a course that if you're in accounting, you know how hard the course is. Being that I've achieved it and I was able to complete it and being a best female student for that, I'm so excited.
I had a dream of becoming a CPA, but because of the words I used to hear, how hard the course is, I said, let me go and attempt. Let me just go and attempt. I give it a try. In case I fail the first papers, I'll just quit and go for masters. But I thank God that
it's so good that I finished the course and I know I will help the nation in applying all whatever I've learned. That is in regard to the IFRSs, the ethics, the integrity.
Philip Aguta for UBC News in Kampala.
Now, I guess you remember when we had just started, we talked about the story over the women's celebrations and Katakwi by His Excellency, the President of Uganda, would be brought in details. And of course, we do have it now, where President Yoweri Museveni had challenged the people of Teso sub-region in eastern Uganda to embrace more commercial farming ventures other than citrus farming. Let's hear more from Henry Okrut.
A joyous mood filled with energy engulfed the atmosphere as women celebrated their day in Katakwi district. From entertainment to parade march past, women showcased their worth. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, who had arrived earlier, was the chief celebrant. He seized the moment to spread the gospel of wealth creation.
Ensuring that the families get involved in commercial agriculture with the Chibaro, with Aymar.
Sekotona anyunebe ikali yake re araide koriete ekoto koriete ojai maratoma.
In artisanship and small scale industries and big industries.
Otupaito sitata idio reriane kabo iswa machine chelo akanin leyanga neta pesa.
In services like transport and so on.
He listed more commercial farming ventures for Teso people to embrace.
Citrus, we are going to add. I want to encourage fish farming.
So I took okinoto maraito koto maitoko ngori kuruna area.
The people are doing well. The man in Anyara was doing well.
Itungangululu atege si aipita area ejase jo kwapata chakaitingolule ja Anyara.
The man between Amuria and Soroti was doing well.
Eja kaitile ja Amuria alias aleja Soroti da.
The man north of Busia town between Busia and Tororo and Marabu was doing well. But it seemed they did not get enough support of the feeds and all that. Fish feeds. But we're going to sort that one out. fish feeds here.
President Museveni decries the practice of bride price payment, describing it as a backward practice that could fuel gender-based violence.
The man who took the salary of his wife and was consuming all it in drinks, it is because the man has no money of his own. You ask Janet whether I've ever taken her money. A man does not take a woman's money if he has got his own money.
He revealed a government plan to enforce free education in government schools.
Therefore, you, the women movement, if you really want girls to be free, why don't you insist on free education? Have you done research to find out when a family does not have the money to pay school fees, they must choose whether to keep the boy in the school or the girl in the school? Whom do they choose? Have you checked that? To consolidate the emancipation of the girl child, in my view, we should insist on free education in government schools.
Earlier, women from all walks of life shared strides and challenges experienced in women emancipation movements.
Fourthly, we also need to close the gaps in education and skilling. The investments made in young people today will be critical to the projection of Uganda's development in the future. We therefore must invest in human capital development, in particular programs that support the re-entry into education.
The huge opportunity we have in front of us is the National Development Plan 4 that is currently being developed. And it is so critical because it's the last plan we have before we have to account for the 2030 goals for the SDGs. So we hope that together, in partnership, we can find ways of really accelerating progress.
Government, through you, have extended to women of Uganda access to credit through special programs, including the Women Fund, the PDM, where we are allocated 30% of the money, and the exclusive one called GROW, which has just commenced.
As for the National Council of Women, they want the president to revisit the decision on rationalization of women-related agencies.
For example, the proposal to merge the councils for women, youth, PW, elder persons into one secretariat has legal, policy, and administrative historical justifications that will weaken the operations and effectiveness of the council.
And say, I'm waiting for so-and-so to give me money, I'm waiting for so-and-so to give me money, but you can think outside the box, and even with very little money, you can start a business and it can grow.
The Women's Day celebration held in Katakwi was held under the theme Accelerating Gender Equality Through Women Economic Empowerment. Story compiled by Henry Okrut for UBC News.
As we continue, the Indian Women Association Uganda is pledged to continue rendering support to the public. Indian women across the country converged in big numbers to celebrate Women's Day in the colorful function and cultural display held in Kampala. Fulgura Patel, the chairperson, Indian Women Association, highlighted some of the achievements the association has contributed to the public in the areas of health and education.
I extend my heartfelt thanks for the fasting foods prepared today.
showcasing the rich culinary traditions that bind us together. Let us commit ourselves to fostering a world where every woman can thrive, where diversity is celebrated, and where unity prevails. Together, we can create a future where gender equality is not just an aspiration, but a reality.
Today we celebrate Women's Day. Due to it's an International Women's Day, so we are celebrating every year. This year, 300 are the life member and 500 are the registered annual member. Every year we are celebrating this day to make a fun, enjoyment, to be happy with all the women. Today we have donated 3 wheelchairs to handicapped women under Mulago Hospital, and 2 wheelchairs we have handed over to Dr. Alfred in Mulago UCI Center. We have got our donors. Always they are supporting us in a good faith, in a noble cause. I would like to thank my all sponsors and supporters, and especially the women who attended today in a number of 600.
Now, as Uganda joins the rest of the world to commemorate the International Women's Day, women in Bugisu sub-region have commended government for the establishment of Sino Industrial Park, Uganda, Mbale.
Located in Bugisu sub-region on a 2.51 square kilometer piece of land, Sino Industrial Park Mbale had its groundbreaking in 2017 and was officially opened on 19th March 2019 by His Excellency the President of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. The park currently employs over 4,000 workers with 70% female. The workforce is made up of skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled people, including widows, school dropouts and single mothers who offer services in different factories where they earn a living.
Yeah, work is going so well. Yeah, as a company, we are working to achieve our company benefits and objectives. So work is not bad at all.
Karo Kayeji, a single mother of 3 children, explains that after leaving her marriage, life became challenging until she got a job at Sino Industrial Park.
Searched for jobs, but I got a job in Mbale Industrial Park, where I started working, and in it I've been able to provide my kids with education, medication, and also provide myself with the basic needs that I need.
Being the majority at Sino Park, these women cannot underrate the challenges of nature like menstruation periods among others that they go through, which can affect the progress of their work.
We are given a break of 2 hours. That's from 12 up to 2. So in that period you have every freedom to breastfeed your child.
In case wababa obuzibu bonna obasomero ngali nkubidde ngali ku ssomero ntuukirira management nenjigamba obuzibu bwe mbanina nga bampaliibwe banga better like njagala financial help wadde ng'omwezi tegunaabatuuka bo babosi bajja kumpa nendenda biri ekizibu kye mbanina then male nkomeo.
Sharon Nashale, a factory supervisor, explains that the factory management put up suggestion boxes around the park for workers to express their pressing issues without fear.
Abantu nga bo balina ensonyi batya ayinza okukola ki ayinza owandiika for example ekizibu kye n'akitwala mu buki mweyo suggestion box n'akisuula mu kati bano ba administrator bagenda ne babikola kozi bazigula after every 2 weeks bwe bagulawo ne basanga ensonga weewaawo era still abanga asobodde otuukirira administrator ajja gyali n'ayogera n'enamuyamba kyaba yeetaze.
Aisha Igewu, who joined Sino Park at 24 years of age as personal assistant to the park manager and later promoted to assistant administrator, reveals that Chinese investors are gender sensitive, a principle that has maintained smooth running of tasks at the park.
There is gender equality. So what a man can do is what a man can also do. I personally work as an administrator. I've handled different challenges. I've been in a position to support our fellow ladies at the park here by getting them, providing them job opportunities, linking them to different factories.
In some organizations, women are subjected to sexual and other forms of harassment, leading them to be demotivated, hence leaving their jobs.
There isn't human harassment with our bosses. Indeed, the people we are working with, like we have some respect, and our bosses are like also give us respect. They don't harass us. So that time I've been here, I've not heard about any sexual harassment to anybody by our bosses.
Given the nature of the work where some employees may be exposed to accidents and injuries during execution of their tasks, the park management has prioritized safety measures to ensure a good working environment.
The companies here have insurance. We have workman's compensation insurance. So in case a staff gets injured during the process of work, we have hospitals which we are in touch with. We have Mount Elgon Hospital Ballet, we have People's Hospital Ballet, we have IMC. So in case a staff gets injured, there and then we take that staff to the hospital.
Aisha Igeu, the Assistant Administrator, Sino Industrial Park, Mbale, Uganda, says the management is embarking on establishment of a committee to counsel and guide the workers on safety and financial management.
We are building up a committee to help at least guide the staffs around the park. Mostly because the people working in the park, we have school dropouts, we have the single mothers, we have the ongoing school students who work during holidays. So they need proper guidance. So we are building up a committee which can help into guidance and counseling, especially on the issues concerning safety diseases and how to manage the money you're earning from the park.
Sino Industrial Park Mbale is one of the 22 industrial parks established across the country under President Museveni's proposal to promote Uganda's industrial sector in addition to curbing unemployment among Ugandans. Story compiled by Muhammad Yiga for UBC News.
Now, university students have been cautioned against engaging in violence campaigns as a means of searching for support. The Dean of Students, Islamic University in Uganda, Hajat Nakawoya Aisha, was speaking during the students' competition debate for guild officers at Kampala campus.
As the Islamic University in Uganda, IUIU Kampala campus gears up for the upcoming guild presidential elections, candidates are urged to adhere to the guidelines issued by the university to maintain a positive and respectful campaign environment. Students turned in big numbers to watch and listen to the candidates during a hot guild presidential debate held at IUIU Kampala campus. 3 candidates have been nominated for the position of guild president.
As we fail to unite while still at school, then we shall never. Yet, if we are identified by faculty, by whole basis, then a whole is a mix of people from different diversities, from different faculties and so on. And again,
Kampala ngefanagana nga olaba wafaana ndufu kiswala kati fetulowooza nti tulina okujja ne program. They will only keep with those people who are in medicine, or the ones in law will only keep with those who are in law. But where is the missing gap? We intend to create avenues that will bring students all together.
In addition to electing the good president, students will also vote for the lady vice president, including among other positions.
One will need a doctor, a lawyer, or a medical personnel. So, if the students vote me, I'll make sure there is unity in our school.
Because there's been a very big gap between different faculties, so I'm here to bridge that gap. Why they should vote for me is because I'm a leader that is always available.
According to Ajit Nakawoya Aisha, the Dean of Students, IUIU Kampala campus, any form of violence instigation is strictly forbidden. She warned the candidates and entire students against violating the election rules ahead of the 2024 guild elections.
The emphasis that we put on the way we encourage discipline at campus
We think that we shall not have it even this season around because we have always emphasized our rules and regulations at the Islamic University in Uganda.
Meanwhile, election coordinators at the university promised to give the aspirants and students fraternity free and fair elections. Robert Katamba, UBC News.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO of Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting it. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
The government of Uganda and the Uganda Bureau of Statistics is calling upon all stakeholders such as the chief administrative officers, city mayors, resident city commissioners, city clerks, city and division councillors, wards and LC chairpersons, as well as the residents and business communities to cooperate with the UBOS field teams as we embark on advanced preparations to conduct the National Population and Housing Census on the 10th of May 2024. The census will be a 10-day exercise to obtain statistical data and information that will be used for planning and policy formulation, including information on 1. How many we owe, what we own, and 5. Where we access services from. The Uganda Bureau of Statistics has now started listing of households and mapping in the 11 cities of Arua, Fort Portal, Gulu, Hoima, Jinja, Lira, Mbale, Masaka, Mbarara, Soroti, and in the Greater Kampala comprising of Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono districts. For more information, please call 0755 342 128 or 0773 342 128. This message is brought to you by the Executive Director and Census Commissioner, Uganda Bureau of Statistics. Census 2024. It matters to be counted.
Hi Fifi, how are you?
I'm fine.
Baby,
whenever I eat chips and chicken, I feel stomachache, joint pain and body weakness.
My dear, go to MX Nutrition Center and learn the best food for your body. And get treatment according to your blood group.
Are you sure?
Yes.
By the way, do you know your blood group, genotype, and how much you need to exercise? Come to Timex Nutrition Center for professional advice on how to manage your health and immune boosting. At Timex, we treat diseases like diabetes, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, pressure, and many more. For details, find us at our headquarters in Kampala on Nasa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor. We also have a branch in Barara, or call us on 0758 819952 or 0778 288361. Timex, be your own doctor.
Welcome back. Let's step into business now. The Danish Embassy in Uganda is striving to connect Uganda business companies with investors from Denmark for possible collaboration, knowledge and innovation sharing. A Danish delegation of 7 companies from the agricultural sector visited Uganda to meet with potential partners in the agricultural sector.
Agriculture is one of the key sectors of the country, and government in the National Development Plan 3 puts more emphasis on value addition to reduce on the export of unprocessed agricultural products, but also enable farmers to earn more. The government of Denmark is supporting Uganda with $95 million to go in the 3 areas that include climate financing, climate smart agriculture, and refugee settlements.
A large share of that goes to the agriculture sector to help Ugandan farmers adapt to climate smart agriculture and green technologies. and to help farmers increase resilience and increase productivity and incomes. So this private sector angle also works well with our development cooperation, and many of our partners working on that are also here today.
The Danish embassy in Uganda is also striving to connect Ugandan business companies with investors from Denmark for possible collaboration.
It's one of the highest in the world because dairy production is probably one of the most CO2 heavy emission productions within agriculture. Another one is the conversion rate in feed for poultry meat. It's 1.5 kilograms of feed per kilo poultry meat in Denmark. We also have a blockchain system, so you can follow the production because there's a lot of bird flus going on and all these kind of things. So we have those kind of blockchain systems that also can help you try at least to eradicate the most bad impacts from bird flu and so on.
If you look at, let's take an example of Uganda, where I'm talking today. The average population is 19 years. The population of that country is about 46 million. A country like Denmark is 5 million. Average population age is 40 years. Where would the market be in 20, 30 years from now? So we are already looking at, from a Danish point of view, pointing these companies to places where the market would be. Now, that sounds like we are looking for market, but we also know that the 46 million, where you have an average of people below 24, 25 years, at about 79% of that population, they are looking for jobs. They are looking for ways of earning their living.
The aim is to boost agriculture, food technologies, and value addition of agricultural products for the country's economic growth. Adia Nakute, UBC.
Ebiseera by'okuzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu, kano kalippagano ka bidduka. Simanya kuzunga na banka siripusi? Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyizi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu eya Uganda.
Now to celebrate women in sports, we sat down with the veteran sportswomen who are actually one particular woman who has made tremendous strides in the growth and development of women rugby in Uganda. Let's hear more from Kemigisa.
Fights, rugby was a very male-dominated sport. It still is, but there was this perception that women should not be playing rugby. What business did we have, playing rugby?
Born in Uganda and raised in Kenya, Buteme says she has always been into sports.
I played sports throughout my school days. Kenya is really big on sports, so there are always sporting activities, right from primary school through to university level. And my dad loved sports. He was a sportsman, and so he encouraged us to play sports. Since I'd grown up playing sports, I felt weird just sitting without doing any sport until one of my former teammates said as a joke that we should go and start playing rugby. So I went to Chadondo Rugby Club and I met the manager, who was a Kenyan called Ruben Ambicha at that point. And I told him I wanted to start playing rugby. And the people around were like, women don't play rugby, But he was like, no, she can play. We have touch rugby on our non-rugby training days, so she can join in with the other guys who are playing touch rugby. So I started playing touch rugby with the Heathens players.
Now part of the team playing in Chadondo, Buteme went on to invite more ladies to the game, being a catalyst for even a huge number to join the sport.
The men traveled to Kenya as usual for the Elgon Cup. And before their game, the Kenyan women curtain raised, playing full contact, real rugby. So when Sogi came back, he told me that I should switch from touch rugby to full contact, and I resisted. I was like, no, women don't play rugby. Eventually, we agreed that we'd try it out, but if we didn't like it, we could go back to touch rugby and they'll let us just play touch rugby. Within 20 minutes of the session, half of us loved it and the other half didn't. The Uganda Cup final, which was going to happen, and so I requested if we could curtain raise, and we played, and it was a very interesting game. We've just been playing for 2 months, so things weren't quite 100% what people thought should be happening, but we enjoyed it and the crowd enjoyed it. It was something different, and fortunately for us, WBS was there to cover the men's game. And so they covered ours as well. And then they interviewed me afterwards. And so I talked about how we had just started and how it was open to everybody. You didn't need to know how to play rugby. I talked about the days and the times. And I welcomed basically women to come and play. And so the next week, we just got all these women like coming down to Chadondo and were like, yeah, we saw someone called Helen on WBS and we want to join rugby as well. And it just grew from there.
After 6 months of training and play, now a fully fledged team, the ladies got a chance to play in their first ever regional tournament.
The tournament was in 2004, around March. So before we traveled, the Chadondo ExCom sat me down and was like, yeah, we know you're very competitive, but just know that you're not as good as the Kenyans and you will lose. So take this as a learning experience, you know. Don't go there expecting to win. And I was like, okay. So we got there and we ended up winning the tournament. So Thunderbirds A won the tournament and I was the MVP and the top try scorer. And then Thunderbirds B finished in 3rd position.
From Kenya, women rugby in Uganda continued to grow, with the women's team making its first World Cup appearance in 2009.
First ever Women's World Cup held alongside the Men's World Cup in 2009. And then they now pushed for African countries to get involved. And Uganda and South Africa were 2 of the countries which they were pushing for. So Uganda got to host the African qualifier. And they were going to take 2 countries from Africa. So we'd been finishing number 2. And so there was this huge expectation for us to finish number 2 again, or even beat South Africa. So it was huge. The pressure was a lot, and we almost blew it because we lost to Tunisia in the pool stages. But luckily we met them again in the semi-finals, and then we beat them. And so by getting to the final, we qualified for the World Cup. And we made history in Uganda because we're the first senior team to qualify for a World Cup ever in the history of Ugandan sport.
Apart from the Lady Rugby Cranes being the first senior team to make it to the World Cup, there have been more achievements in women's sport since 2003.
Some of the things that have changed about women's rugby, or you could say women's sport, because I like looking out for women's sport, is that there's more media coverage. You know, you'll actually find women's sport in the newspaper. Sometimes they'll even get the back page headlines, yet previously it was very, very difficult for that to happen. And then even women's personalities. People can talk to you about the different personalities in sports. People can have debates about different players from different sports because they're reported about, or they've seen video clips about them. And for the sports where women actually get paid for coaching, or they get paid for being match officials, it's been a source of income. Girls who've been able to study through primary school, through secondary school, because of bursaries, sports bursaries, athletics, football, netball primarily. Rugby has also just started giving bursaries in. Like, I run an organization called Rugby Tackling Life, where we use rugby as a tool for social change, you know. So we use it to mobilize within the community, and we use it to help break social barriers.
What can be done to better or to build on what has already been done?
About how they're approaching women's sport, because a lot of the time it's just like kind of ticking the box. Yes, we have women's sport, women are playing, but there's nothing really intentional about it. It's just to say, yes, we have women playing. So there needs to be a focus on how are we developing female coaches? How are we developing female officials? Is there mentorship? It's okay to run courses, but after you run those courses, what opportunities are you putting forward for these female officials and these female coaches? At least pay the female officials and pay the female coaches. And actual investment, many women's teams don't have sponsors. Proper safeguarding policies put in place across all women's sport. Invest in the women, and we will definitely be even better in sport.
We celebrate the far women's sport has come, but there is more to be done and hope more changes can be done to grow women's sport in Uganda and the world at large. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News.
Well, Grace Kemigisa also talked to some female sports personalities, and here are some of their views on the meaning of Women's Day.
We are happy for the opportunities given to us as women being celebrated because of what we bring into the world of sport, and the sport itself has also given us tremendous opportunities in life. I would love to see more women encourage their daughters and sisters to come and join us in the world of sports.
Being an athlete, Women's Day has its special meaning to me. It is a time to celebrate the resilience, strength, and achievements of women in all walks of life. Being a woman in the world of sports has its set of challenges, from overcoming stereotypes to fighting for equal opportunity. But Women's Day comes as a reminder for the progress that has been made and for the work that still needs to be done. I believe investing in grassroots programs can encourage young girls to participate in sports from an early age and enhance their development as they climb through the levels.
Celebrating Women's Day in sport is literally celebrating the achievements, contributions, and advancements of women in the sports. And it also serves like a platform of gender equality, where women right now have a right to participate in most of the sports, just like rugby. Most people think rugby is for the male, but we do it.
Women's Day as a woman in sport means so much to me, because on this day we get to reflect to the challenges that women face in sport and also their resilience and strength.
As a sports lady, Women's Day to me signifies empowerment and recognition in the sporting world. Our theme in 2024 is Invest in Women, Accelerate Progress. And therefore, this theme highlights the need for investment in women in sports to drive for positive change.
And what a way to end the celebrations of Women's Day. Welcome back from those celebrations and welcome back from the bulletin. My name is Patricia Lukoma Mpango. Well, thank you so much for sticking with us all the way from 8 to 10. From the entire news team, we say it's a good night, but our programming continues.